Yes, I think the trend will continue, and the younger generations, particularly Gen Z, so the post-millennials, are so used to having so much information on multiple devices. They're surrounded with all sorts of information all the time, that they're quite savvy in that they have this, natural instinct to be skeptical of anything, and then they go and fact check. And it's not hard for them to fact check. They might not always get it right, but that's probably a habitual change, which I think is quite promising. If it's used in the right way, that's probably the only way to survive this overabundance of information on digital platforms, which older generations find it very confusing and hard. And so, forward looking, I think that will continue. The real problem is linked to your second question, then how would we teach these younger generations to actually use their skepticism in a right way? Because skepticism is different from cynicism, where you negate everything, versus you are skeptical and you make an informed decision. So and that is not really taught in schools or anywhere, and they've just developed this habit by doing. So linked to the second question, who is responsible? I think it couldn't be resolved by one entity. Like, the government definitely has a role. They need to change the educational curriculum and teach this in school, provide adult media literacy programs. That's probably the role of the government. But there is also a role of the public, because they have to live with it every day. They have to educate themselves to survive this. So I guess it's the public's also quite responsible. And in the other study we did, qualitative study we did about misinformation and COVID, lots of people, the general public, were very reflexive and reflective in their own media use or internet use, and were thinking that it's their responsibility to come up with solutions because nobody else is helping them. So that's another angle. Another important piece of the puzzle, I think, is the digital platforms themselves, or media companies themselves, which they have started to do a little bit, but I think a lot more needs to be done in terms of and both the government and the tech companies in providing proper regulatory frameworks and doing the right regulation that is different from the past era, and also tech companies and social media companies to think about the impact of their tools, and to self-regulate and come up with code of conducts, and which they have started to do, but not much has really been happening. I think there's a lot more to be done.